Good morning, students. We'll start now. So in the previous lecture, we started with inheritance concept, right? And we have seen its different types, and we have seen one example also, right? Okay, so we'll see the theory part of inheritance today. So it is coming from our fourth unit, that is inheritance and polymorphism. I think you have given this heading and inheritance, right? Okay. Now, what we achieve by inheritance? What is what is a keyword? What we achieve by inheritance? Anyone?
For reusability.
Reusability, right? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay, we achieve reusability. And which keyword we use for inheritance? Which keyword?
Extend.
Which keyword? Extends, right? Okay, so we are trying to uh, write our code just like an English statement, right? Class, this is our keyword, right? So if we don't have this part, this is our normal class declaration, right? Class and the class name, then it's a body, right?
Friend.
Okay, and so now we want to achieve inheritance, right? By inheritance, what we do? We extend existing class. The existing class is known as superclass, right? So this is like class subclass extends superclass, right? Just like an English statement. So remember this keyword extends. Don't write extend. Okay, just like English. Okay, extends. Okay. So what happens in inheritance? Okay, so inheritance enables you to reuse the existing functionalities. Okay, so there are predefined classes. Now we want to use the features given by that existing class and we want to extend that class. Okay, we want to add new features to that existing class. So that's why we go for that we go for inheritance, right? And here we reuse the existing functionality, but we also add our new features. Okay, that is also important. In inheritance, the class that inherits the data members, the class which inherits is known as the subclass. The class from which the subclass inherit is known as superclass. Okay, so this is the hierarchy. So we have a super class, okay, and we want the features from superclass into the subclass, and we indicate that with this arrow. So how to read this diagram? Subclass extends superclass. Okay, so you give arrow upward in upward direction. In some literature you may find diagram in this form also. Super, and then you have a subclass. In some book you will find diagram in this form. Now how to read this diagram? So the features or the methods or data members of superclass are coming into the subclass. Okay, one and the same thing. Okay, but where during the explanation you have to explain that diagram. Okay, so both the notations are fine. Okay, and we are going to follow this notation. Okay, and how to read this diagram one more time? So this subclass extends superclass. Read that in that way. Okay. So this the class which is inheriting the features is known as subclass. The class from which it is inheriting is known as a superclass. Now we have seen the another names to these classes. The superclass is also known as a base class. Okay, it is a base class from which we are defining a new class, and this subclass is known as a derived class. Okay, I have told you the third name also. What is that? These are the two names of subclasses, subclass and base class. Sorry, no, this is wrong. 1 minute. Okay, superclass is also known as a base class. Derived class is also known as a subclass. What is the third name? Third, category?
Parent.
Parent and child, right? So base class is also known as a parent class. Okay, and derived class is also known as a child class. Okay, so if you are using subclass, then you should use superclass. Okay, so that is a pair. If you are using base class, then use derived class. If you are using parent terminology, use child terminology. Okay, so use the proper pairs. Then you can create additional data members and method to add more features in the subclass. Okay, so you use the existing functionalities in the form of data members and method. Okay, and you can add your own new data members and method into the subclass. A superclass can also be a subclass of another class. Okay, this is also true. A superclass can also be a subclass of another class. Okay, so if you have a hierarchy like this is A. Okay, now what do you mean by this? Okay, so now here this B is a subclass. Okay, and for this B, A is a superclass. Okay, now we may have another class called C. Okay, which is again a subclass, but for C, B is a superclass. Okay, so what we have to write for declaring C? Class C extends B. For declaring B, we have to write class B extends A. Okay, so now A is acting like a grandparent for this class C. Right? Through inheritance, C will acquire the property of A also, right? So the functionalities of A will come in B from this hierarchy. Okay, and by this inheritance, it will come to C. Okay, so this is regarding inheritance. Any doubt? Okay, please take a screenshot of this. Taken? Okay. Now, what is the syntax? How to achieve inheritance? So for that we use extends keyword. Okay, we have seen the list of 50 keywords, right? So extend is one of them. So the syntax is the regular one. This part is a regular one. Okay, class, you replace this with the name of the subclass, extends superclass name. Okay, which class you want to extend. That's it. Okay, take a screenshot of this. Okay, next concept is what are different types of inheritance. Okay, that day we just seen it briefly. Okay, so when you have a single superclass and single subclass, that hierarchy is known as a single inheritance. Okay, so class B is extending class A, one superclass, one subclass. Okay, that is single inheritance. Then when a subclass is itself a superclass of another class, okay, I repeat my sentence. When a subclass, this B is a subclass for A, right? When a subclass is itself a superclass of another subclass, then we have multi-level inheritance. Okay. Then hierarchical. Okay, when multiple classes, okay, I have shown here two classes. There can be n number of classes. When they inherit a single class, that is known as a hierarchical inheritance. Okay, and hybrid one, the fourth one is hybrid one. You combine these three types, then you may achieve hybrid. Okay, so consider. Okay, now there is another class D. Okay, now here if you see this subtree, this much, this is what? This is multi-level, right? Multi-level plus hierarchical. This part, this part is hierarchical. Okay, ये hierarchical है, and this red part is multi-level, right? So when you have a combination of this inheritance, that will be hybrid. Okay, so take a screenshot of this slide. Okay, next. So we'll talk about single inheritance. Okay, in single inheritance, what we have, a subclass is derived from a single superclass. Okay, a subclass, one superclass. That is a single inheritance. Okay, take a screenshot of this, and we have seen one example under this category, right? That basic arithmetic operator and the arithmetic operator, right? Arithmetic operator was deriving basic arithmetic operator. Okay, so in this program, what we have done, so there is a existing class called basic arithmetic operation. This is the existing class, and here we have defined two methods, that is add and subtract, right? Okay, and then we have defined the arithmetic operation class, and we have added new features in the form of two new methods called multiply and divide. Now you take a screenshot of this. We have done this, so you will have an idea what we want to achieve. We are going to write two classes, arithmetic operation and basic arithmetic operations. Okay, and arithmetic operation will be extending basic arithmetic operation. You take a screenshot of this, then we'll discuss that example one more time. Okay, now that this was the program, this test class is like a runner. Okay, so we'll use the functionality in test class. Okay, this is our base class. Okay, this basic arithmetic operation is our base class having add and subtract method. Okay, add will do the addition of two received parameters. Subtract will do the subtraction. Now, arithmetic operation is extending basic arithmetic operations. Okay, so through inheritance, these two methods will come virtually, they will come in arithmetic operation. Okay, so if you create an object of arithmetic operation, you can, okay, you can call multiply and divide. Okay, but in addition to that, you may call add and subtract. Okay, because they are virtually inherited here, right? Okay, so that's what we have done here. We have created an object of subclass arithmetic operation, and on that object we are calling add, subtract, multiply, divide, and we have defined one constant also, that is pi. Okay, so pi, we can access the value of pi also. Okay, pi is also came through inheritance in arithmetic operation. देखिए यहाँ पे pi basic arithmetic operation में define किया है, but through inheritance it will come here also. Okay, remember in class we have two components, right? The data members and member methods, right? Okay, so both the things we can inherit through inheritance, right? Okay, take a screenshot of this example. Then, and the third screenshot. Okay, what we have done in divide function, if the second parameter is 0, we know that division is not possible, so we have manually handled that exception. Okay, you may get divide by 0 exception, okay, if b is 0. Okay, so we have handled that manually. If the divisor is 0, return 0, otherwise return the division. Okay, so this is the example of single inheritance. Okay, single subclass and single superclass. Okay, next inheritance is multi-level inheritance. Okay, so there will be one class who will be subclass of one of the superclass. Okay, and he will be superclass for another subclass. Okay, don't get confused with this super sub. Okay, just which one you will prefer, base, derived, or superclass, subclass?
Super and sub.
Which one is better, less confusing?
Base.
Base, derived. Okay. So this, in this multi-level, what is happening? This B is derived, okay, with respect to A. Okay, A is base class, B is derived class. And if you consider this part, B is acting like a base class and C is derived class. Okay, when you have this, okay, then that will be a multi-level. Okay, and how many classes we can have? Okay, there is no limit. Okay, so what happens in multi-level? A subclass inherits the property of another subclass. Okay, subclass, this is a subclass, right? See, a subclass inherits the property of another subclass. For example, class A is a superclass of the class B. Class B is a superclass of the for the subclass class C. Okay, you can include any number of levels in multi-level inheritance. Okay, this is the syntax. Okay, so class A is our normal class. Nothing is there. B is extending A. Okay, and C is extending B. Okay, so you will have that hierarchy. So I will draw here. Okay, so this is done up to this point, and then C is inheriting another subclass. In the preceding syntax, class is a superclass, class C is a subclass, the class B acts as a subclass for class A and superclass for class C. Okay, very basic. Okay, so you may take a screenshot of this. Keep updating your notes. Don't postpone your work. Okay, otherwise there will be lots of pending work. Immediately after the class you complete your notes. Okay, then we have a hierarchical inheritance. Okay, so in this example, so what is happening? Okay, so you go line by line. So we have a class animal and it is not extending anything. Okay, so we have a animal class. Okay, so draw it. Animal. Then dog is extending animal. Okay, so we have this inheritance. Dog class, dog extends animal. Then we have cat, and whom it is extending, animal. Okay, so animal से ही line draw करना है, and cat. Okay, cat. Now they are adding more functionality. Okay, so eat, every animal eat, right? Okay, so it is there. Dog extend animals. Okay, now what are the specific features dog has other than uh, other animals. Okay, dog has that barking capability, right? So this is a specific code with respect to dog class, right? So it is adding its own functionalities. Cat, he has a specific functionality of meow, right? Okay, so here what we achieve through inheritance, we achieve a is a relationship. Okay, remember this is a relationship. This concept will come later on. Is a relationship. So how to read this? Dog is an animal, cat is an animal, right? So here we achieve is a relationship. So in the top margin, you can write down this line. Okay, write down through inheritance we achieve is a relationship. And there is another concept called has a relationship that will come later on. Has a relationship. Okay, write down in the top margin. Through inheritance we achieve is a relationship. Okay, so they ask such questions in interviews. Okay, do you know about is a relationship, how we achieve that? Okay, so this is regarding hierarchical inheritance. Okay, so when you have two or more subclasses inheriting a single class, that is known as a hierarchical inheritance. When two or more classes inherits a single class, that is known as a hierarchical inheritance. This is the example. Okay, take a screenshot. Okay, now so we have seen this hierarchy, okay, one superclass and multiple subclass. Can we reverse that thing? Okay, so when we have multiple superclasses getting inherited in a single subclass, can we have this structure? In other languages like C++, this is allowed. This inheritance is known as multiple inheritance. Okay, and keep this thing in mind. Multiple inheritance is not supported in Java. Okay, and you put IMP symbol here. Very important from interview point of view. They will ask why multiple inheritance is not allowed in Java. Okay, why it is there in C++, but why Java has avoided it. Okay, now there are two reasons. First reason is to reduce the complexity and to simplify the language. Now, what happens when we allow multiple inheritance? Consider this example. What is this? 80K. Is my voice fluctuating?
सर आपकी आवाज अटक रही है.
Okay. So, shall I repeat hierarchical inheritance? Shall I repeat hierarchical inheritance? Sir, नेट चालू है ना? Anyone?
सर मल्टीपल वाला ले लीजिए.
Okay. Now, so we have studied three types of inheritance: single, multi-level, and hierarchical. The fourth category is multiple inheritance, but remember this is not supported in Java. Now, when we have multiple inheritance, when we have two or more super classes, okay, or base classes, and they are getting inherited in a single derived class, then we have multiple inheritance, okay, but it is not allowed in Java. If you try to do so, okay, so for that, what we have to write? So class C, okay, subclass extends. So you will be writing like this: extends A comma B, right? Okay, A and B. So you will get a compiler error. Okay. Now why we are avoiding this multiple inheritance? Now consider this example. So you have a class A which is having a go method. Okay, some imaginary method go. Now we have this inheritance. Okay, B, 1 minute. Okay, this is fine, right? This is single inheritance. Then there is another called C. Is it allowed? Up to this point, is it allowed? Anyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, this is hierarchical inheritance, right? So we have hierarchical inheritance in Java. That is fine, right? Single base class, multiple derived class. This is fine. Now consider, okay, so through inheritance, so we will have go method here also and go method here also, right? Okay. Then let's say we have defined D, okay, and there is a function, there is a concept called method overriding. Okay, we are going to see that concept, method overriding. Remember this name, over loading हमने पढ़ा है, ये riding क्या होता है? So I will give you a brief idea. Okay, now through inheritance, this go method will come in B and C. Okay, now B and C wants to write their own version of go method. Okay, they are not satisfied with the code written in this A's version of go. Okay, so they may override that by writing their own definition of go. Okay, so this, let's say this go versions are overridden. B has written according to his requirement, and C has written according to his requirement. Now this Go version, we have two versions of Go now. Okay, three version actually. Okay, A's version, B's version, and C's version. Now let's say we have allowed the multiple inheritance. Multiple inheritance यानी कि multiple base classes, and D is arriving. D is inheriting two versions of Go now. Okay, one from B and one from C. Now that creates confusion which version to be called in D. So when I create D obj, D का अगर ऑब्जेक्ट बनाएंगे हम, और वो obj पे अगर मैं go कॉल करता हूँ, तो अपने पास कंपाइलर के पास दो वर्जन है, कौन सा कॉल करना है, that creates ambiguity. Okay, so in order to reduce that, to avoid that ambiguity, we avoid that. Okay, and this inheritance is creating a diamond like structure, right? ये diamond like structure develop हुआ. That's why this problem is known as deadly diamond of death problem, also known as D3 problem, deadly diamond of death. Okay, so here same thing is noted. B extends A, C extends A, D extends B and C. Okay, अगर वो उसने overridden किया है, okay, which one to be called? This is a deadly diamond of death. Multiple inheritance is not allowed in Java. Okay, so this slide is very important. Mark it as important. Okay, and remember this concept. Okay, take a screenshot. ये जो go है ये overridden है, that is important. Okay, so you will have two versions, two different versions of go. Then it creates a problem, right? Okay, this is happening because we are when we allow multiple inheritance. Okay, so hierarchical plus multiple inheritance. Okay, done. Okay, so what is the time? Okay, so we may see one example now. So everything is clear up to this point. The theory part of inheritance, okay, terminologies. We have seen three names for that thing. Okay, if you have 1 minute. So A है, okay, so B is extending A, so A is super and B is sub. Okay, now second naming convention is this A will be base, B will be derived. Okay, and in very basic terminology we may say A is parent class and B is child class. Okay, you can write down this in your top margin. Very basic concept, but it may create confusion. Super sub. Okay, और हम लाइन क्या लिखेंगे? क्लास बी extends A. Okay, so what we are going to do in this practical in this example is, so we are trying to achieve the easier relationship. Okay, so we know that, okay, so person we will be defining one person class. We know that student is a person, right? So we'll be defining a student class. Okay, this is example of multi-level inheritance. Okay, so we have achieved is a relationship. Okay, student is a person. Okay, then student will be employee then, right? After graduation he will become employee. 1 minute. So we'll be implementing these three classes. Okay, now let us decide about the data members. Okay, every person has name and okay, name and date of birth. नेम रहेगा स्ट्रिंग टाइप का, डेट ऑफ बर्थ भी स्ट्रिंग टाइप का रहेगा. ठीक है. फॉर स्टूडेंट, okay, so we may have a percentage attribute. Okay, what is his graduation percentage? Okay, and we may store his branch. Okay, and then employee. Okay, so employee will have a company name, in which company he is working, company name, and he will have some salary. Okay, this is our aim. Okay, we want to implement this system. Okay, this is our example number 2 from inheritance. Okay, take a screenshot. Okay, so person class having this information, name and DOB, student having percentage and branch, employee having company name and salary. Name DOB will be of string type, percentage will be a double, right? Branch will be a string type, company name will be a string type, salary will be a double type. Okay, so let us implement this. ML for multi-level. Okay, we'll need a test class to run everything. Class, what is our first class? Person, right? Person. Okay, Then in person, we are going to store person name and DOB. Okay, so string name and DOB, data, date of birth. Okay, then we'll be defining methods to setters and getters, right? Set data 1. Okay, let's say set data 1 string जो भी name आएगा and string. I'm not using constructor. Okay, just one setter for setting both the things, DOB. Okay, now I have given same name to this. Which keyword I have to use now? Name and DOB are local variables here, and same names are used for the instance variable. What keyword I have to use?
This.
Anyone?
This keyword.
This.
This keyword, right? This. ओके जो भी ऑब्जेक्ट है उसका वैल्यू उसका इंस्टेंस वेरिएबल लेने के लिए ओके द करंट इंस्टेंस उसका नेम करंट इंस्टेंस उसका डीओबी और ये नेम रहेगा ये जो भी रिसीव करेंगे तो जो भी रिसीव करेंगे वो हमने असाइन कर लिए इंस्टेंस वेरिएबल के लिए ठीक है ये सिर्फ सेटर है तो सेटर का हमें पता है कि रिटर्न टाइप वॉइड होता है उसका काम सिर्फ वैल्यू सेट करना होता है राइट और हम ये डेटा प्रिंट भी करेंगे तो उसके लिए हम शो वन करके ये कर रहे हैं यूज कर रहे हैं मेथड उसका काम सिर्फ शो करने के लिए है तो उसका रिटर्न टाइप भी वॉइड रहेगा ओके सो यहाँ पे हम एक मैसेज दे देंगे एम्प्लॉय सॉरी नेम इक्वल्स टू प्लस name okay you can write this dot name also no problem but there is no confusion here so you can omit it no problem then the next one is his date of birth it will come from dob variable okay so this is person is done right setter and just one method to print similarly we are going to create class student okay but student will also have a name and dob right we should have a function for setting the name of the student right so there is existing class called person okay so why not to extend that okay so we'll extend that so virtually this functionality will come to this student class okay so here we are going to write string branch and double percentage okay and we'll be using the same name just 2 okay so here we'll have branch double percentage this dot branch okay setter is done then show 2 so here his branch is equals to branch and his graduation percentage equal to okay so student class is done okay so single inheritance is achieved then okay so that student okay employee will be a student right okay so he was student one day right so Employee will have some branch, right? Previous branch percentage, graduation percentage. Okay. So he's going to have a salary and company name, right? So string company, always give meaningful names to the variable. Okay, from the name itself you should get idea about what value he is storing. So salary. Okay, then again setter and set data 3. Okay, show 3. Okay, then what you want to store? Company name, setters, and then salary. Salary will be printing the his salary. Okay, and company name. Okay, now let us create an object of. Okay, so he is our first employee, emp1. Okay, so object of this is done. Now through inheritance it will receive everything, right? Okay, so let us first do the initialization and then we will call show methods to print the data. emp1 dot set data 1. Okay, set data 1, we should pass name and date of birth. Okay, so we will pass name. Okay, so Ankit Jain. Okay, and date of birth. So generally we have this format y dd. Okay, in databases we follow this format. Okay, so date of birth. Okay, so 1995 dash month 09 dash 23. Date of birth is done. Then emp1 dot set data 2. Set data 2 is coming from student. Okay, student में branch और percentage हमने स्टोर किया है. ओके, ब्रांच लेट्स से CSE. ओके, और परसेंटेज, हाँ, 83.45. देन emp1 डॉट data 3. If you follow all the rules now, then no need to remember. So here I am following the camel case notation, right? So you follow the naming convention, then nothing to remember. So company name and salary. Consider he is working in Infosys, and salary 80,000. 80,000. Okay, employee 1 dot. So now I want to print the data show 1. Okay, then 2 and 3. Okay, so we know the data, it should come in a sequence. That is our expectation. So cmd java c program 63 63 62 62. Okay, double. Okay, our percentage was double. No one has pointed this error. Okay, so Java test. Name Ankit Jain, date of birth, branch percentage, company name, and salary. Okay. Example. Have you got the example?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Through inheritance, we try to achieve the easier relationship. This line you remember. Okay. Is it visible at this level? Is it visible in mobile?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Take a screenshot. Done? Okay, so this is how we have implemented this example. Okay, so that's it. We'll stop here. In tomorrow's lecture, or sorry, in next lecture, we'll be seeing access modifiers and access specifiers. Okay, so we are using them, but we have not studied it in detail, like private, public, protected, then final, abstract. Okay, so we'll be studying them in next lecture.